Hello, hello, and welcome to another edition of the Magnet Marketers. This week, we're going to be talking about Twitter changes that affect your business. Excited about this topic and keeping you up to date. That's what we want to talk about today. I am Mike Gingrich. I'm the president of Digital Hill Multimedia. We're a web software specialty company in the Midwest. I'm a co-founder of TabSite and Waftio. Those are software as a service platforms to help you run contests on Facebook and also grow leads in your website, respectively. I am joined today by another representative. My usual co-host is Jessica Phillips. She's going to be out today, but I have Terrence with me. Terrence is also from Now Marketing Group and works with Jessica there. So we are excited to have Terrence jumping in and joining us today. You want to say hi, Terrence?
Yeah. What's up, guys? Very excited to be here. It's actually, unfortunately, Blab is kind of now on the downfall. But I've been on Blab plenty of times. It just never really did any hosting. Never got in the hot seat more than probably once or twice. So,
very good, very good. Well, for the topic today, very relevant. You've been doing some research on this, been doing some talking about this, but we want to talk about what's happening with Twitter. And I mean, I think that's
Twitter was on its heels for the longest time, and I think even in part it still is because they have so much more to prove. Yep. Not so much to people. I think people that use the platform, they love it for what it is. But when it comes to marketers are having a really hard time figuring out what the return on investment is. You know, how can I maximize my best time and energy on Twitter? And that's where the problem's coming from. It's not really the platform itself. It's just how am I going to make money? How is this going to help me build my brand?
Yes, that's a business standpoint. What's a marketer to do? And there's been some fading. I mean, of interest use, unless you're in a specific target demographic that's highly active on Twitter, highly engaged on Twitter. There's been some questions about that.
And mostly we see it with solo entrepreneurs, coaches. It's a lot of individual type people that are on Twitter and leading it. The media is all over it. I mean, you can't go on Twitter and not find something about news. If it's happening right now, chances are someone on Twitter is talking about it. Usually we see it when platforms go down. If Facebook goes down, or Snapchat, or Instagram, or something happens out in the real world. Yeah. Eventually a trending hashtag comes up in probably less than 5 minutes, and everybody's talking about it.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. So definitely Twitter is a breaking news source. I mean, it's out there. Yeah. And I as well. I mean,
and that's good for good news and bad news. It goes both ways. You can be a company, and a company could have something bad happen. Target with all their scams and the banks, this is where the conversation with what people are actually using Twitter for. And Twitter is a really good customer service tool because you can engage on all those direct conversations really, really easily. Even if people aren't mentioning your name directly, if they're typing in your name, you can use different tools. And that's some of the tools we're going to talk about, the tools there that will let you find those people and be able to respond to them appropriately.
Okay. Customer service. No, I like that. I think that's important and out there. And then, we want to kind of dive into even how customer service on Twitter, on a social platform, actually can help sales.
Yeah. Well, one, because you're communicating with that person. That's a one-on-one conversation, but then everyone else on Twitter is seeing that conversation.
Yeah.
And chances are, obviously, the more positive, or at least the more helpful you can be, it brings a positive light to what you're doing on that platform. And someone may, even if they didn't really know your product or your service, but then they see you behaving that way, that's a positive influence, which then all it just takes is one curious person to go to your website or follow a link. And from there, they could be a customer.
Yes. You can have lurkers, watchers, that type of thing, and you can influence them.
Lurkers, trolls. I mean, they all do about the same thing these days.
Yeah.
And really, that's an interest. And I'm pretty sure I mentioned this at that Social Media Week Lima. Of all the people that actually have Twitter platforms, they actually don't do any tweeting. They literally just go through Twitter and follow brands and people and they just go through the feed and just kind of interact, but never actually tweet. And that's what sometimes makes Twitter so hard to measure, because you don't know what exactly users are doing on it. There's some users that tweet everything in their life every single minute, and then there's some people that they don't even tweet once a day.
Yep. Excellent insights here. All right, so maybe we've set a little framework. There's been some shifting, and
Twitter is shifting.
Let's talk about even the one shift before we dive into these latest things, and that was, last year they added Periscope to the mix. Okay.
Obviously, Periscope was huge, and Periscope came at the toes of the now faded Meerkat.
Yes.
When it faded. Periscope, that's Twitter's baby to competing with Facebook. And I don't really see the drive on Periscope as I do with Facebook Live.
Yeah.
I think we're just seeing, because so many people are on Facebook, more people are familiar with Facebook Live. And I just don't think people realize, or they don't know how to strategize using Periscope. I think if the conversation was then just as big as a force as Facebook Live, people would be doing it. And there are people that are doing it, but just not to the mass volume of Facebook Live right now.
Yep. So it was a helpful additional tool for Twitter, but it wasn't necessarily a game changer.
It's not the game changer.
Just because of some of their other ongoing kind of struggles with getting user adoption.
And you know, I'm almost starting to think Twitter may be just in its own little world when it comes down to what people do on the platform. And honestly, a lot of it is just that single hand-in-hand conversation, whether it's business to business, business to consumer, or consumers to consumers, or friends to friends. I don't know if there's going to be much more we could really do with Twitter from a platform standpoint without actually completely altering it. Because Twitter's really, other than the addition of video and GIFs, you know, Twitter really hasn't changed dynamically all that much compared to what we've seen Facebook.
Right.
I mean, Facebook, first it was your wall, now it's your news feed. Then there became business pages. You know, just if you compare Facebook to Twitter, the dynamics of the platform have changed so much on Facebook over 10 years.
Yeah.
When you look at Twitter, not a lot changes. I mean, it's still 140 characters. The profiles haven't really changed all that much. They've added moments, but that just goes to what Twitter was already doing. Yep. They made real-time information easier with moments.
Yep.
So I just feel like Twitter dynamically is kind of stuck in a platform rut where there's nothing new really coming from the platform other than what's already there.
Okay. All right. So that's key. And that's laying some of the foundation for where Twitter's at right now. And again, they just made some changes, and that is another attempt from Twitter to shake things up, to offer some tools. So let's have you begin to kind of dive into some of those, recap some of these changes.
So
here.
I know one tool, at least that we found, is Engage and Dashboard. And the first one I'll talk about is Dashboard, and that is the first link over in the chat box. And essentially what the Dashboard does is it's a really cool tool where you can track, it takes the noise out of Twitter. And instead of you seeing everyone else's tweets, you see the tweets that are literally just about you in what is a normal timeline. It looks just like the Twitter platform. But there's none of the hashtags, there's no ads, it's only who is talking about you and your business. Then you can look at analytics a lot easier.
Yeah.
You know, most people don't know that you can go to ads.twitter and get to analytics, or you can hit that little caret at the top right hand button and go to analytics.
Those two hits.
So this does make it a little bit more accessible when it comes to analytics for people that never even knew Twitter was really tracking analytics, because they are. They're tracking how many people go to your profile, the number of tweet impressions you get, the mentions and the favorites. And that's all key important information, because then that's going to just guide you to creating better content, and the content that you know that's working.
Yep.
What experience do you have with Dashboard, Mike? Have you jumped into that at all?
I've got it on my iPhone now, and
okay.
I'm been playing around with it, and I really shut down notifications and all that on the Twitter app itself.
And so you're just using the dashboard app
Yeah.
and the Engage app for
and just basically doing that to really try to dive deeper into it. And
right.
yeah, I mean, I will admit though that the one thing that's been helpful for me is the analytics, just to be able to. It's just so much easier for me now.
It's just right in front of you now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I like the scheduling feature that they've added too. I don't know
yep, that's what I did not hit up on. Yes, the scheduling feature, and this is the first ever from at least inside the Twitter platform. Again, Facebook's had it for over a year now. That you've been able to schedule within Facebook for businesses. So now the fact that we can do tweets now that also raises the point here. There's always there's rumors, Facebook's algorithm doesn't like third-party apps. Is Twitter going to get that way?
Right.
Is Twitter going to say, you know what, just now that we offer scheduling on our platforms, are they going to penalize people that are sharing content from third-party apps?
Yeah.
You can't really prove it with Facebook, but it would be interesting to see what Twitter does.
Yeah, no, it is a question, and it's Twitter's first real foray into the domain of the third-party services, the Hootsuite and the buffers, the Agora Pulses, all those types of things. They've kind of stayed out of that. Facebook has ventured in there, and and so we've seen some of that.
I mean, Facebook has absolutely ventured into the business of making you stay on Facebook for as long as they can, whether it's using instant articles, whether it's people using the notes function, the live video, not uploading a YouTube link, but uploading an actual video. And I think Twitter is gonna have to do something to get people to stay on the platform longer. Exactly. And this is one way to do it. I mean, now you don't have to leave Twitter to go to Hootsuite to look at analytics, or you don't have to get on Sprout Social to look at analytics. They're making it easier. But again, like I said, this doesn't really change the dynamics of the Twitter platform. All they're essentially doing right now is making it easier to use, which has taken a really, really long time.
Now, one of the big differences between Facebook and Twitter is the kind of the algorithm that Facebook uses. So Facebook is trying to surface what they have determined through their algorithm is going to be relevant to you, important to you, and based on some of your past experiences, what you've liked, comment on that type of thing. Twitter doesn't. Pretty much a fire hose coming at you.
And there's been talks of that Twitter algorithm, and I don't think we've really seen it. As what I do notice a lot is if you don't get on Twitter in a day or two, what they do like to do is bump up day or two old tweets and filter those to the top. And then you have to hit that X button that then dismisses that. And even though every time they tell you, do you like this function? No, don't. And they still give it to you every single time. But that's the only part of an algorithm that I've seen from Twitter is just if you don't log in on a day or two, it likes to send you those older tweets.
Yep. So I think that, I don't know. That's
that actually we did see a new functionality, the retweet of your own tweets.
Okay.
This has brought up a conversation with, if you go back onto a lot of your tweets, you go back a year or 2 years, you could actually just retweet old content, which is before, Twitter, you as a person, you could never retweet your own stuff. What have you seen with this on Twitter, at least on your own people who you follow?
That's interesting. I mean, I think that, before there was kind of a tendency towards that they wanted everything to be authentic and
fresh.
Yes, in that moment. Now but I think they've had to get there. Whether we see a trend for people using the dashboard more, I always told people, it's like basically, hey, you're going to be, because of the way Twitter is, you're going to need to share the same tweet multiple times over the course of a day, a few day time period.
Just to make sure all your fans see it.
Yes. And so, are they giving us something easier to manage that? I mean, it's still something that you need to do, but it's there. I mean, again, not a game changer.
Nope. And really, another thing they've kept changing too is, video length. I literally, cause it actually, I guess it changed again. It was at 1:40, and now it's at 220.
Okay.
So they keep raising up the video length. But again, though, but when you look at platform to platform, Facebook to Twitter, Facebook doesn't limit the amount of minutes that you can load. So the fact Twitter is still under so many different limits, whether it be character limits, whether it be video length limits, how long you can be on Periscope live. Now the longest, and this might have been internet connection related, but the longest I've ever streamed live on Facebook was 2 hours. Now on Twitter, I haven't actually tried anything Twitter live before. I've used Periscope, but not on Twitter. So what's your take on video and Twitter? Does it have the same pull as it does on Facebook?
At this point, no. And again, just because it doesn't have the surfacing mechanisms and what I mean by that is, surfacing, rising up to know that people I'm interested in are live.
Are using it.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. Just on Facebook, you can follow people on Facebook and get a notification as soon as they go live. On Twitter, you would have no idea. It would go right underneath your nose before you would even know that it was by the time it was over. So that's a good point. That's a really good point there.
Yep.
Now, what do you see about with the Engage app? Now, this is where I got confused with Twitter. And Twitter's got the dashboard. You can go to dashboard.twitter.com, or you can download the Engage app. And the Engage app, the one benefit of that is that it allows multiple platform or multiple profiles. So, someone like us with an agency, I'm managing more than one Twitter profile. So the Engage app is good because it'll track every single platform or every single profile. But I'm having an issue because now I'm stuck. Either am I going to get on twitter.com? Am I going to go to dashboardtwitter.com? Or now am I going to go to the Engage app and download the Engage app?
Yep. It's
like, whoa, time out, Twitter.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's been kind of a confusing thing for me. And I really haven't dove into the Engage app because, again, for me on a mobile device, you got to be better than Hootsuite, because Hootsuite's where I manage multiple.
You live and breathe in Hootsuite. Yep.
Yeah, I manage multiple client accounts. I can easily flip through different Twitter accounts, see what's happening, that type of thing. So,
and for us, we actually switched to Agora Pulse,
yep.
And we're working with Agora Pulse, and same thing. I can download their report. Now I do have to go. It does take a little time to go from platform to platform and then export all the PowerPoints. That does take time, but nothing compared to what it is to try and choose 3 different websites to go pull information. I think Twitter is almost while they're still making some things easier, they're making a lot of things still blurry. And they're giving us more questions than they are answers sometimes.
I mean, yeah, I'm just not. I couldn't believe it, because Engage came out first, right? And then Dashboard was after that.
Engage came out 21st or the 23rd. It was literally right around the conference.
Yeah.
For Social Media Week Lima, and I was like, unbelievable. And then the crazy thing is, when Facebook comes out with a new feature, everybody's talking about it. Twitter, it seems to be Twitter. It's like a stealth bomber or something because no one knows anything about it. And all of a sudden they release it. And it's like, well, that would have been nice to know. You had something coming up the pipeline. You could have prepared some of us for it. That's what I feel like the difference between Facebook and Twitter is. Facebook does such a great job at branding updates, saying that this is going to come out soon. Be ready for it. And it kind of lets people be prepared versus, with Twitter here, they've launched one app and one new desktop platform. And it's like, well, shoot, now we have to learn everything before we can even really promote it and how to promote it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been a little unique that way. And how, particularly from a mobile experience, what are you going to do? You're going to have all these apps. What's your go-to? You're going to flip through. How do you do that? So that's But let's come back to Twitter itself, just from a platform standpoint, and there might be small businesses out there that are going to take a look at this, what we're talking about here, and from your perspective, what's the demographic that if this is your demographic, this is who you're trying to reach, it could be important to continue to dig into Twitter again.
If you're in the service industry, you know, whether it be plumbing, car sales, real estate, any really high, restaurants, any high service oriented, and you're dealing with business to consumers, you should be on Twitter because it is the 25 to 35-year-old. And we do have a problem with sometimes indicating if it's male or female dominated because Twitter likes to default male on settings. So that does sometimes throw the statistics off. Yep. But generally, I would say it's almost really close to a 50-50 blend, maybe more male. But 25 to 34 years old, they're all over Twitter. The hard part is finding them. And then letting them know, use your other, and this is a great thing. I know Gary Vaynerchuk touches this on all the time. Use your other platforms to tell people where you are and how to get there and what you're doing there. So if you're sending out a weekly email, remind your weekly email subscribers, hey, follow us on Twitter. We're giving you this information. If it's a special, put it on there. Or we're putting out this extra video content, particularly about this product line or this service. If you want to learn more, make sure you're following us on Twitter and give them dates and times when you're going to do something specific. You know, just like we do here on Blab, we promote the Blabs. We don't expect people to remember to tune in. We live in a society right now where there's so much noise. You have to almost hold the hand of the lead or the potential lead to where they need to go. Yep. And when they get there, that's when you got to execute. And that's when it comes down to tweeting consistently, tweeting what you promise, and communicating. If someone's asks a question, don't wait 3 days later to respond.
Yep. Yeah. No, I think that's critical. So you said 25 to 35.
25. Yep.
Right there. That's still a heavy user base, and again, they're tweeting messages out, so it's good to monitor that, to be able to handle customer service that way. It can be a good real time messaging service that way, and I think that again, you talk about letting people know when you're going to be on a platform, what you're going to be doing, and I think that's important. Again, if your demographic is going to be on Twitter itself, but I've seen that. People use that. Subi Zimmerman does this successfully. She's known as the Instagram expert, but she's multi-platform savvy. She's letting people know. For instance,
she is just as strong on Instagram as she is on Twitter,
and Periscope. She's
and Periscope.
Yep. And Snapchat. She's massive right now. But it's interesting. Like, she's driving traffic. She told me, I did a podcast interview with her, and she said that she will snap something and then tell them to use a specific hashtag on Instagram. So, okay, so I'm on Snapchat. I want you to come over to Instagram and tell me what you think of this Instagram post, and use the hashtag snap or something like that, so that she knows they came from Snapchat over there. Then she's got them on Snapchat, and she's saying bio, and you're gonna, I'm gonna do a live tip on Periscope. So she's doing that crossover, letting people know where they can follow her and what the specific thing is that's unique to that platform that she's going to be doing.
Exactly. And for most businesses out there, I'm going to assume Facebook is probably your strongest platform. And that's where probably most of your fans probably are. And when it comes down to it, if you want people from Facebook to go to Twitter, you have to tell them, and you have to give them a reason to go there. Because not even I follow so many brands on Facebook, but I may not follow those brands on Twitter because, one, they may not be telling me they're on Twitter. And if they're not telling me, then obviously I may have no interest to try and find them on Twitter. So then I don't find them. And I wait for them to tell me, or I wait for them to give me a reason to go there.
Yep. Well,
now, I know Twitter's, and I haven't even tried this. I know I think Jessica actually might be watching, and maybe she can make a comment. But the Twitter stickers, Mike, have you played around with? Have you been able to pull up any of the Twitter stickers into any of the images? Because I have not. I have not had that functionality yet.
No,
Okay.
I'm with you. So
So I wish we could get more in-depth analysis on Twitter stickers. I did see a couple example tweets and they were really cool.
yeah, now, what are you liking it to? Just to try to give our audience, from what you know about it, how can you describe the purpose, value, or something it's similar to? Anything?
Do what? Come again?
Can you give the audience any insight into what it's supposed to be? I mean,
It's supposed to really just an extra functionality to make your to make the image pop out more. And
yeah,
I'm getting some. If you have a photo, and here we'll try and do this real quick. If and this is what it looks like, I guess. If you put a photo up on Twitter with the app, you get that little button there where the edit feature is.
yep.
So instead of hitting the edit feature, you hit the stickers, and the stickers, those are the stickers. Look at that. Yep. Look at those. So it's something similar to what Snapchat has done. When you take snaps, you can now put stickers on your snaps.
Yep.
And I don't believe you can do any sort of linking with them. I think they're really just there to make the image look cuter, I guess.
Okay, and so it creates,
Cleans it up a little
creates a
bit.
new image with that
Yeah.
laid on top.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
You know, another thing we've seen too, with Twitter or even Snapchat, you know, take images that you do on other platforms. Don't put them on there from a third party, but save it to your phone and then post it on Twitter. You know, use some content from your other platforms on Twitter. Sometimes you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I think that's another thing. Some people get afraid about that 140 character limits, and they're trying to reinvent the wheel on their content, when in reality, you really don't need to reinvent the wheel. And when it comes in, like you said at the beginning of this show, you can tweet. You need to tweet more than, honestly, I would say tweet more than 4 times a day. And half those tweets could be content that you already tweeted earlier, especially your blogs. You know, we like to give the 10-4-1 rule out as a good guidance. When you're on Twitter, you should double that. That should almost be 28-2.
Yeah.
Because literally there's so much content going through the pipeline of Twitter that some people don't see it. So
Yep. Which again, if you know, just you saying that, and I'm thinking about a small business, and they can be saying, "Oh my word," you know, 28 and 2.
But now that Twitter can, you don't have to buy Hootsuite now, or you don't need to worry about the free version of Hootsuite. You can now use dashboard.twitter.com to schedule your content out. Yeah. So you take 2 or 3 hours of your time. And then obviously I know people, the more they do it, the better they get at it, and it takes less time. So the more you do it and the more you get in the habit of scheduling your content out and doing it weekly or doing it monthly, then it becomes a breeze. And before you realize, it's not really work at all, but at least you're then on the platform and you're putting out content. You're being part of the community. The hardest thing is to start something and then stop at a month, 2 months, or 3 months down the road. You're not really giving anything a chance by doing that. And
I will also, you know, kind of add to that, starting and then fading is one thing. Another bad thing is just not starting. So I was recently connecting with a small business that basically said, well, you know, we're starting here, but my demographic's not there, so I'm not doing anything there. And I said, well, I mean, I said, okay, it's okay not to be active, but I said, even on Twitter, you must do 2 things. Number one, you want to secure your username for your brand.
Yeah.
I said, you got to get that. Why do I want that? Because I said, you might want it someday.
Because you might want it someday. Someone else could come in and get it, and there's really not much you could do.
Yep.
Unless you have a lot of money and you can go and fight somebody for it. But that's going to cost lawyers.
The second thing with that is that they're in kind of a service. They're, you know, a customer service industry where they're providing that service. So I said, Twitter's big for people tweeting about it if they don't have a good experience. So you want your username, you want that account, and if you don't even tweet, you want to monitor mentions. So you know somebody.
So you know who's talking about you. Absolutely. You know, you actually bring up a point here. And I see this a lot because I'm when I tweet, I'm either tweeting when I'm out doing something, or if it's a customer service thing, I will send a tweet out. 9 times out of 10, you get a response from 2 people on Twitter when you do this. And 1, it's the company that you're complaining about, and 2, it's their competitor.
There you
and
go.
The competitor, you want to talk about trying to get business. Find people that are complaining about your competitor and send them a tweet. Hey, if you don't like their product, come try us.
There you go.
It's something just like that. I saw it with, I think we were at Social Media Marketing World. The gentleman, this was a conversation just about printers. People have problems with internet modems. They have problem with TVs. They have problems with, there's a lot of technology out there that has issues. If you use Twitter's search function for this and find conversations where people are not happy about a product or service. And if you can offer them something better, that gives you a right to tweet them because they're talking about your product and your industry and your service.
There we go.
So,
I like that. We've given people practical tips here today. We're saying
that is about as practical as I can get, because that's happened to me at least 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. So we're saying you got to have your username, you got to monitor mentions, and you can use Twitter search to see where there's unhappy people in your industry or with your competitors.
Yes. And the cool thing is, with the Twitter search, you don't have to just use the @ symbol to find something. You can just type in a phrase and be able to find what people are tweeting about using that particular phrase. And then you can even use the advanced functionality, and you can find people that are near you that are specifically tweeting that instead of Twitter pulling it from all over the place.
Excellent. All right. All right. Well, I'm seeing we're at 4:35-ish here, so it's almost wind down time. Are there any other key items that we didn't cover that we need to yet, or do you feel like with some of these rollouts
just with the content creation on Twitter, don't be afraid to pounce into the GIFs. The value added on the GIFs is like having a little short video, but they're already loaded into Twitter. And whether or not you're having a conversation with someone where you can give them a high five or a fist bump or a hug, or a cheers because it's happy hour on Friday and you're a bar and you want to invite another business over to have a couple beers, any of that stuff. Use those GIFs because that's what Twitter put them there for. Use them there to enhance the conversation. In fact, just there was a local organization here. We were tweeting back and forth, baseball team to baseball team, and we were communicating with the GIFs. And we actually picked up 2 people that they weren't major followers of us and they weren't major followers of the other team, but they took note to the conversation that was going on between 2 profiles and were just impressed. And that's the kind of thing when you can impress someone just with good talk on Twitter. And that's going to get your name into their feed because they're going to retweet you, which then shows your product and your service to a whole new group of people that don't even follow you.
Yep. Okay. So. Interesting. Yes. All right, folks. So that's some of these things. Now, again, we have the links down here. So if you want the dashboard and Twitter Engage, you can click on the links here to go check out those apps, those products. And, that's what's some of the latest and greatest. And we need to talk about what's coming up next. So next week, we are back at the same time here on Blab, 4 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays. And Jessica and I are going to be talking about some of the changes that have been happening in the live streaming world. Okay. So
we mentioned a few, I think, did we?
Yes, we kind of, lead into these things already. So we talked a little bit about Periscope. We got to talk about, Facebook Live. And so we're going to be diving into those a little bit more. Let me post this link here.
I got a teaser for that. YouTube Live. A lot of people don't know you can actually do live YouTube videos, but you can, and now you can do it on mobile.
Yes, that's a breaking one. There's
the teaser. Learn more about YouTube Live next week.
Yep, they can do that. So we're going to talk about these things. Jessica's going to be back. We're going to be diving into those and talk about some changes even for the magnet marketers at that point in time too. So make sure you come over and join us. But thanks, Terrence, for stepping in today and this topic.
Absolutely, Mike. It was nice joining you. It was nice to see you again. So know, I just saw you a couple weeks ago there at the conference, but no, it's been great. I appreciate it. So hope everyone, if anyone has any questions, you know, you always go to Now Marketing Group, or you can go to Mike at Digital Hill. You can always send us questions. So I know we're more than glad to answer any questions. So.
Yep, this was about Twitter. So Terrence, just take a moment here and drop Now's Twitter handle, your Twitter handle down in there. In the chat.
Now's Twitter handle is it's just at NowMG. And mine is just Keyser NowMG, which is my first name.
Good, you're good.
And you know what? And I'll end on one last thing that actually just reminded me of one last point that we see people do, especially around companies and agencies. If someone wants to be able to communicate on behalf of a company and still have the company ties, this is what I do. I have my last name and NowMG. It just indicates I'm a part of the Now Marketing Group team. And then that's just how I indicate myself on Twitter. And then we even see it with brands where they will use, when you tweet out, they'll use the caret sign and use whoever's responding their initials. So that's just another way where you can add that personality to your company's Twitter profile, so that they're not following maybe a company, but they're following people of the company, which we all love. We love dealing with people better. So that could be a scenario that you could go for. So
good. All right, good stuff. And again, hope you can join us next week, folks. Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Thanks, Terrence.
Hey, thanks, Mike.
Your day.
Hey, you too.
Take care.